Hello fellow creature, welcome back to Rooftop Talks. In this video, I'm gonna go off script. I actually don't have a script. I just have the title of the video. They are hypocrites because they want the social rewards. They want the social credit of being virtuous and treating animals with dignity and respect without actually consistently applying those ideas to all animals. Vegetarians give vegans a bad name. Vegetarians misrepresent ethical veganism by making it seem like it's some kind of aesthetic aversion, some kind of disgust towards meat, disgust towards the sight of blood, some kind of squeamishness. And then that misrepresentation goes on to color all of the animal rights movement. I think that vegetarians are on the right track, but they are basically underdeveloped in their ethics. They have not examined the dairy industry. They haven't examined the other animal industries that treat animals horrifically, that infringe on the basic sovereignty of animals, their bodies and their freedom. Vegetarians create an unnecessary middle step between non-vegan and vegan. So it goes non-vegan, vegetarian, vegan, 2 steps away instead of just 1 step. Right? So it creates an unnecessary middle step, which takes longer to change the paradigm around veganism, to move the Overton window towards animal rights. They cause a lot of damage ideologically. Most vegetarians are still human supremacists, right? They still place humans in a category of free reign to exploit animals for their bodies, for their labor. They will defend humans' right to do that. Vegetarians are the quintessential virtue signalers. Vegetarians want to signal to others their virtue, that they care for animals, while still participating in industries like the dairy industry, which ruthlessly abuse cows and chickens, and they eat the products of pigs in the form of things like gelatin in sweets and candies. So they continue to participate, they continue to financially incentivize animal abusers, but they want to take the credit. They want to claim that they're on the side of the animals. As abusers, they want to claim that they're on the sides of the animals. Right, so that it's just fundamentally inconsistent. It's fundamentally an unexamined belief. And I know this because I was a vegetarian before I became a vegan. If you're a vegetarian watching this, I was like you, right? Before I went vegan, I was a vegetarian and I was a fucking hypocrite. On Christmas Day, my family would be like, go on, have a piece of turkey. And I'd be like, yeah, all right, it's Christmas. Yeah, I know I'm vegetarian, but I'll have a bit of turkey just to join in. This is typical vegetarian behavior, right? Not committed. They're not principled in their behavior. They're not following a principle a lot of the time. A lot of the time, it's just some kind of compromise, right? You don't compromise on your principles. If I say that principally, I am opposed to child abuse, and then someone says, go on, but it's your birthday, go on, abuse that child, it's your birthday, go on. And then I go, yeah, all right, just this once. That's not principled behavior. That's being a hypocrite. Of course, I would never do that. And you would never do that either, right? You would never abuse a child if it were convenient in the moment to abuse a child and you had some kind of excuse lined up. That's kind of like what vegetarians do. They have all their excuses lined up for when it's convenient for them to abuse an animal or to pay for someone else to abuse an animal on their behalf, which is typically what non-vegans are doing. They're commissioning animal abuse. They have those excuses at the ready, and they will fight just as hard as a non-vegan for their right to commission animal abuse, to demand financially the abuse of innocent animals. And it makes me sick. And it should make you sick as well. If you're a vegetarian, you don't have to be like this. You know, if you're a vegetarian, you know what I'm saying is correct. You know, I've just called you out. By the way, if it's an aversion to killing, if you're in like an anti-death cult or an anti-suffering cult, you do realize that dairy cows get killed when they can no longer produce milk. They get sent to the slaughterhouse killing floor with all the other beef cows, right? They get sold for cheap meat. You do realize that male chicks are shredded up in the hatcheries that then go on to sell those egg-laying hens to produce eggs. Little tiny cute male chicks get shredded up alive, and that's in the egg industry. That's not the meat industry. And what do you think happens when an egg-laying hen, through no fault of her own, loses the ability to lay eggs? Do you think they just keep that female chicken around? And see, I know that right now, even when I'm showing you the truth, you're still trying to reach for those excuses. You're looking for an excuse like backyard hens. You're immediately thinking, what about a backyard hen situation, right? Can't I have backyard hens? Right, you're already reaching for the excuse, just like a non-vegan. You're still a human supremacist. You're still an excusetarian. Don't try and fool us into thinking you're not indoctrinated with the same bullshit that they are. I don't buy it. You have an aesthetic aversion to meat. You have an aesthetic aversion towards animal bodies. That's the only way to explain the hypocritical position that you found yourself in, right? Like, I can't explain your weird stance any more than that. Or you just haven't thought about it. Like, or you genuinely just don't know about what's going on in the dairy industry or the leather industry, right? Or how they make gelatine, right? These are, yeah, they might be byproducts, like gelatin as a byproduct, but it's part of the profit margin. It's part of what incentivizes animal abusers to do what they do. They're not doing it for fun, they're doing it for profit. And you pay them. You make sure that they get that money on time every month. Don't try and fool me. Don't try and fool me to think like that you're an animal rights activist, that you give a shit about your victims. Until you start proving it with your behavior, stop paying for this shit. Stop paying for it, man. Or else just, we got nothing to talk about here. You want to like cozy on in with the club, with the animal rights club, right? Yeah, you're an imposter. You're hypocritical. You're a walking contradiction. Do you feel good about that? You feel comfortable where you are right now, where you know on some kind of level that you're opposed to the killing and the abuse of animals. But every day you start your day with a glass of milk or with a bowl of milk in your cereal. Okay, here's a better way to think about milk. Imagine that the milk is blood red because cows are killed in dairy. Cows are worse than killed in dairy. They're raped in the dairy industry. Their children are taken away from them. In the first week of being born, that calf will be taken away from the mother so that the calf doesn't drink the mother's milk. If that calf is a male calf, then that calf will not be able to produce dairy, right? Will not be able to produce milk. What do they do with the male calf? Everyone, fill in your questionnaire form now. Fill in your multiple choice answer now. What do they do with the male calves that are born through the dairy industry? What is the process by which cows produce milk? Why do cows lactate? I'll give you a hint. It's to do with reproduction. It's to do with giving birth. How do they make sure that the cows on that dairy farm lactate? How do they do that? You know the answer. You know the answer. Vegetarians that are just wishy-washy in the middle, they know that something's wrong, they're aware, they're informed. You certainly are informed now if you weren't before by this video. But they want to have their cake and eat it too, right? They want the social kudos of being on the side of social justice, of being on the side of animal rights. But they also want their treats. They also want to have a mango lassi, a milkshake, eggs benedict, I don't know. Look, don't be mad at me, I'm just pointing out your contradiction. This is a problem for you. This is a problem for you. You're undermining your own values. You're paying for animal abuse. That's all I want to say. Thanks for listening to my rant, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.